to see the stars and the moon. I'd fly far into space as long as I am with you. The light in my bright eyes when you're near. The fluttering I feel in my chest when you are here. I can't explain this kind of love. It pulls me to you, I want it, I can't get enough. So share this precious light with me. Just take my hand and let's enjoy the things that we'll see.
Hey, what's up everybody, Primus22 here, bringing you another episode of Katawa Shoujo. I just woke up, like literally just woke up. Okay, it's 10:15 a.m. Took me a while to get everything set up, but this is the first thing I'm doing today. The Lay's diss track's coming out in a few hours. Did that ruin my career? Probably. But last episode, Hanako didn't come to school. We went to give her papers. And yeah, she just seemed off. So let's get into this. Once again, Hanako doesn't turn up for class. Try as I might to concentrate on other matters, this fact continues to distract me throughout the entire school day, and even as I walk through the school gardens to the dormitories. I don't think today being her birthday is a coincidence either. I don't know the link between the two events though, nor do I have any idea on what she's feeling. Were it physical pain, I could at least provide some limited comfort. With something like this though, I have no idea where to start. I run the people I know through my head, thinking about whether they could help. Shizune and Misha don't know that much about Hanako, and what little they do know, they can't tell me. Same for the nurse. In the end, there's only one person that knows Hanako well, and would be willing to tell me anything. Entering my dormitory, I notice something that takes me off guard. It's starting to feel familiar. With everything that's going on around me, I'm thankful that this room started to finally be somewhere I can relax a little. When I first entered Yamaku, I felt it immediately foreign in every way, from the untouched neatness to the way it smelled. Focusing back on the task at hand, I throw my bag onto the bed as I open the top drawer of my desk. Before she left, Lilly told me the number to call her on while in Scotland, and I wrote it down. In hindsight, I wonder if she knew something like this could happen. Now that she's out of reach, I realize just how much both Hanako and I have relied on her for guidance. I am not used to talking like right when I wake up. Jesus Christ. I dig around drawer after drawer, looking for that darned piece of paper. Eventually, thankfully, I find it nestled under a borrowed library book. Oh, so that's the type of fun we're going with here. Gives some Steins Gate flashbacks, you know, where you move the cursor to the corner and then the phone would pop up. I probably should have just entered it directly into my cell phone, come to think of it. Without further ado, I enter the numbers and anxiously press the call button. Eventually, the phone picks up. A feminine voice I don't recognize on the other end. It's probably Lily's mother. Oh, is this representing that she's speaking English? Because who can understand English, am I right? Oh, what do you want from me? This is the Sato residence! I'm so sorry. English? Suddenly finding myself unprepared, I realize I can't understand a word she says, either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I should have anticipated this, since according to Lilly, her mother is a native Scot. I soldier on in the hope that she must know some Japanese, considering it's her daughter's native language. It's Hisao Nakai speaking. An enthusiastic sound of realization can be heard as she recognizes the language. My feeling of relief is immense. I'm keeping the strange accent. You must be one of Lily's friends from school, correct? Aye. Even so, her accent means I have to concentrate to work out what she's saying. Yes, that's right. Pleased to speak to you, Mrs. Sato. It's so nice of her to find someone so polite. Dear Lily, Dear Lily. Lily, dear, it's for you. I apologize to anyone who wanted to hear something vaguely resembling an actual Scottish accent, because that's not what that just was. Her mother seems nice, if a little over-enthusiastic given the mundane situation. There's a small silence as Lily takes her time getting to the phone. In the distance, I can just make out her mother scolding her playfully for just getting up. Hello, Lily speaking. You sound awful. Way to greet someone, Hisao. She makes a sound somewhere between a dying animal and a yawn. The one thing I did remember to check before calling was the time zone. It'd be pretty late in the morning over there, so she really has no excuse. Not feeling well? Just tired. What time is it there? Late afternoon. School finished for the day not long ago. Hanako's not well, is she? That was quick. My assumption that she must have known something like this could happen seems to have been on the mark. How did you know? Because today is her birthday. I'd hoped she might have gotten at least a little better after coming to, coming to know you, but how is she right now? She missed school today and yesterday. I still have to check up on her today. To be honest, after seeing how she was when I talked to her yesterday, I'm pretty anxious. I really have no idea what to make of it. Has this happened in the past? Is it related to her scarring in some way? Unfortunately so. Roughly the same thing happened last year when her birthday came up. As far as I can tell, it's because her parents died in the accident that caused her scarring, and Hanako blames herself for their deaths. What she says does seem to make sense. If she's blaming herself on her birthday, she may well be ruining that she was ever born. See, I like the headcanon that the house burned down because of the candles on the cake, but whatever. Hanako had mentioned her stay in the orphanage to me. Maybe I should take some heart that she trusts me enough to tell me such a thing. Lily seeming so in the dark about it, though, almost to the extent that I am in that... What? I can't read this early in the morning. It's 10 a.m. Lily seeming so in the dark about it, though, almost to the extent that I am, is a surprise. So that's why she lives in the student dormitories as well. Has she told you any more about the accident? As close as we've come, she's barely told me anything about what happened. What I know about it is largely conjecture. She sounds depressed, almost defeated. Considering the trauma Hanako must have gone through, I really can't fault Lily for not knowing. Nevertheless, she still seems to consider it a personal failing. Don't blame yourself, Lily, with everything she's gone through. There's a long silence from the other end of the line. I begin to wonder if the call cut out before the voice at the other end speaks once again. There is another person, though, that has been a subject of worry for me as of late. Oh? I run through the people she could be talking about in my head. The only friends she seems to keep very close are Hanako and me, though there is Akira as well. That person is you, Hisao. Oh, there's another silence on the line, but this time it's caused by me. Making others worry about me is something I very actively tried to avoid since coming to Yamaku. Indeed, even my interaction with Hanako has helped stave off any major health problems thanks to our relaxed and slow-paced lives. What is there to worry about over me? I apologize, I didn't mean any offense. Sorry, I was just taken a bit off guard. Still, isn't Hanako the bigger problem at the moment? For some time now, I've thought about that both of you may be feeding into each other's more worrying habits. I've tried to amend this before leaving, but it seems to have done little. Worrying habits? When I asked you about what you had in mind for the future, your answer was very similar to what Hanako has said in the past when that question was posed to her. It is well and good to want to protect her, but I feel that treating Hanako like this, as if she were a daughter or someone in need of special care, is only going to achieve the opposite. The situation got effectively turned on its head. After everything that's happened, this is the first time I find myself down in Lily's judgment. I agree with Lily, trust me. I've been saying throughout this entire Let's Play that, sometimes you need to just give people space, Hisao. So I'm going to have to agree with... we're going to have to agree with Lily here. I don't want to admit it, but she may have a point. Something else bugs me, though. And you tried to amend this? Wait, our outing into the city? Quite astute. I thought it might help if I dragged both of you out of Yamaku and into the wider world. I am thankful you became closer for it, though. She noticed that. I suppose she may well have been paying attention to us, and her hearing is incredibly good, quite likely good enough to have picked up what we were talking about if she tried. This sounds more and more like you were manipulating us. Silence. It's a harsh way of putting it, but I had no intention of stepping back from those words. I'm sorry, I was just worried about you. It's fine. I guess there are more important things anyway. It's not a total surprise that she'd do such a thing. Her motherly nature can be slightly overbearing at times, but she does have the best of intentions. So you think I should think about myself more instead of trying to cater to Hanako? That largely sums it up. Again, I'm sorry for not telling you this in a clearer way before going behind your back. I know I am at least guilty of being overprotective of Hanako as you, but I feel that you are neglecting yourself in your efforts to give Hanako happiness. Do you really think Hanako will be okay? She isn't as fragile as you think. I don't know exactly what experiences she's lived through or what feelings she has in her mind, but she has managed to work her way through them until now. There's always my hope that giving her a little space will allow her to decide what she truly wants for herself, and give her the initiative to reach out for it. Please have faith in Hanako. That's all I ask. I guess I'll think about it for a while. That's good. Being rash won't get you anywhere. I know that at times you may doubt your relationship to Hanako, but she does. Lily cuts herself off and takes a moment to reconsider her words. Please keep in mind that I won't have befriended you if I hadn't thought you a fundamentally good person. You're a good friend, both to myself and Hanako. Thank you. That helps. We share some small talk to try to lighten the atmosphere, but it feels very stilted. There's a lot I don't know about Lily's stay in Scotland, but after such a heavy subject, I want to be alone for a bit to think. After a few minutes, we end up saying our goodbyes, and I set my phone on my desk. Compared to Haneko's situation, mine feels utterly mundane. I still have both of my parents, and I had a reasonably normal childhood, and unlike many in Yamaku, my condition isn't immediately visible to the public. But then again, isn't this just an attempt to justify the way I've been acting towards her? That may well be what our pasts were like, but when it comes to the future, I still have no idea what to do. In school, I've concentrated on each day's work, and I've put off more and more things to cater to Hanako. I recall the words Muto told me after Haneko's breakdown about the purpose of Yamaku in my education. In hindsight, he was probably trying to push exactly the same thing. Just what have I been doing in the time since my heart attack? If I ever did manage to get Hanako out of her room and to open up, what then? I look out of my dormitory window as the sun slowly sets. It's a nice sight, but what I really savor is the quiet as the students return to their dormitory rooms. All I want to do now is think. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I want to work out where I'll go from here. Do 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 do. 12 minutes. You know, I said these episodes were going to be a bit longer. Let's persist. Since talking to Lilly yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness I felt ever since coming to Yamaku. But even if I try to concentrate on the book in front of me, Haneko's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms larger than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flick over to her desk again and my mind starts spinning. Oh, it's Miki. Oh god. Did I do I think we did a vaguely Mexican accent that didn't sound Mexican at all. Once more my eyes drift over to it, but this time my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate. Oh, hey Mickey. ASA, maybe you should just have lunch. I can hear your stomach growling from my desk. I'm so sorry. I let my head drop in disappointment. She seems to take some amusement from my reaction and hops up onto my desk. Her grin as she sits on it reminds me of the Cheshire Cat. So, what you working on? See, that doesn't sound Mexican at all. Hey, what you working on? It sounds like some vaguely British Isle type thing. That's some Transformers Cybertron accent type crap, man. Some math, Canadian, probably more Canadian. Some math, I have a decent handle on it, but I just want to revise. Oh really? Let me see that. Before I can object, she grabs my mathematics book with her hand. She scans the page I was on, holding it open with one hand she has, her left arm sitting uselessly on her lap. In my time here at Yamaku, I've noticed the other students have a wide range of adjustment to their disabilities, on a purely practical level. Miki is one of those who seems to have trouble. The stump of her left arm tends to be either hanging by her side, slipped into a pocket, or otherwise put out of the way. Sometimes she has a difficult time doing common tasks, which makes her visibly quite frustrated. I feel a little bad for thinking this way, but I'm thankful that Hanako and I don't have disabilities affecting our freedom of movement to that extent. Then again, if Miki's problem worsened, at least she wouldn't have a real possibility of dying. My attention is refocused as she thumbs through a few pages, skimming their contents. With such casual interest in the subject matter, it's clear by now that she won't be any help. I'm guessing you're not too interested in this stuff. Screw math, it's boring as hell. She puts the book back in front of me with indifference. Her eyes move to the notebook beside it that I've been working out practice equations on. Wait, you're actually able to work that stuff out? Essay. Yeah. Wow, I've never talked to a computer with legs before. Thanks, I think. At least I'm doing better in this than history. Think it's worth asking that librarian for help? Para ayuda? I heard she's shooting for uni. Ah, Yuko? Maybe. I don't know what she wants to study though. So what about you? Got anything you're thinking of doing after you graduate? Me? Nah, not really. Just enjoying it while it lasts. She looks a little awkward when asked about her future, and absentmindedly rubs her left forearm. I kind of want to ask her about it, but I don't think I know her well enough to do so. The conversation peters out and I lean back in my chair, giving up on the prospect of studying. Miki notices my tired expression and looks oddly serious. Thinking about Hanako, I say. It's that obvious? You've been glancing at her seat, you've been pretty quiet, not too hard to connect the dots. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, I can see why you would be. She can get weird sometimes. I mean, holy frijoles. She sounds put off, but I can't blame her. Hanako was a hard person to interact with before she warmed up to me. Even with Lilly around to help, I haven't known her for that long either, so some of her habits would still be unknown to me. My face becomes troubled. If I hadn't developed feelings for her, this would be at least a little easier to deal with. I mean, no offense. She isn't the bad person, I know that much. I know, I didn't take it that way. It's just harder to deal with her when, well, you have feelings for someone. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's hard to forget something like what's happened to her during class, too. I wish she hadn't reminded me of that. She just confirmed that it was clearly noticed by others in the room as well. Come on, don't get that down, S.A. She's done this before, you just gotta wait it out. She locks herself in her room and acts like an empty husk of a person for a sizable amount of time, ever since she entered Yamaku, if not before then as well, and I'm not supposed to be concerned about that? Well, I might think that, but there's nothing that I can do. I can't force her to come out, and she does see a therapist, so it's not like she isn't getting any help for her issues. Maybe it's natural to think that way when you're just so... Maybe it's natural to think that way when you're so powerless to help someone. That's just the way she is, and you just have to deal with it. As I mull things over, I notice movement out of the corner of my eye. I glance to see who it is and end up doing a double take. Oh hey, it's a Hanako! Surely enough, it's Hanako. She walks through the door just as she would any normal school day and begins to move towards her seat in her usual silent and humble manner. She looks at me for a moment before blushing and looking away in embarrassment, which makes me realize that I was staring at her. I feel sorry for that, but not doing it is hard after all that's happened. The girl sitting at my desk looks to me, grinning. See, your sweetheart's back already. What did I tell you? You be quiet. It might only be meant as a joke, but she hits close enough to make me quite uncomfortable. As we talk, someone calls Miki's name from the door. She jumps down from her vantage point on my desk before turning to me. Gotta go, Hisao. Remember to eat sometime, will ya? Eat some holy frijoles. Fine, I will. See you. She gives a casual salute before jogging over to the door, where a male student in a gym uniform is waiting for her, probably someone from the track and field club. Seizing the opportunity, I get up and make my way to Hanako's desk. Hello! Hi, Hanako. What's up? Nothing. Maybe talking to her this soon after she came back to class was a bad move. Want to go? Come with me and grab something from the cafeteria? I'm pretty hungry. But I thought you were studying. Studying can wait. Turning up for class after all this time must have taken some courage for Hanako, so the least I can do is stay with her. That's just the way she is, and you'll just have to deal with it, is the way Miki and probably the class as a whole views Hanako. I can do more for her, though. I want to do more for her. After being distracted by Miki, I don't think I'm going to get any work done. Come on, let's go. She hesitates, but eventually gets up and joins me as we begin walking. These may be... Can you just leave? I guess it's during a class break. Okay. These may be small steps to her, but the fact that she's finally out of the room of her own volition lifts a large weight off my shoulders. Let's keep going! My pen busily scrawls onto a slowly filling page in my notebook. My other hand remains on the other page of a reference book I borrowed from the library, marking my spot as my eyes flicker to and fro. As I work, I occasionally mark red circles or underlines on the photocopied sheets of paper that lie on the table in front of me. Wanting to change the scenery from the library to avoid the distractions of the classroom, I decided to make use of the Shanghai for some quiet study time. It ended up being nice and quiet as expected, and being able to get coffee while I study is a nice bonus. Hanako may have returned to her normal self if she came out of her room, but I've done quite the opposite. Daily routine may have returned to us, but I feel as if I'm a different person. Maybe I'm not. It's only been a few days after all since I decided I wanted to try and get out of the rut I found myself in after my accident, but I wanted to change, and I'm now actively working towards that goal. Or at least, I would like to think I am. Ugh, this is impossible. Brute force isn't going to work. What's more, I have another piece of writing I have to do after this. I fear that it's going to be no easier. This is me right now in college. I look up in mild surprise to the source of the tentative voice. Yuko stands at the head of the table with a damp towel in hand, clearly having taken the opportunity to clean the tables while no other patrons were around. She looks curious, her eyes as much on my work as on me. What's the matter? I was just wondering, what sort of work are you having so much trouble with? Oh, it's just history. I'm fine with science and math, so I'm trying to get my other subjects out of the... Oh, you can't do history, Hisao. I don't think we can be friends anymore. Yuko looks positively delighted at this development. I feel like I chose the right answer on some big quiz show. Oh, I think I can help you with that. If you don't mind, of course. I briefly considered turning down the offer in order to not cause her too much trouble, but she looks too excited about this for me to do it. It would mean to shoot her down like it would be mean to shoot her down like that after such a reaction. If you're willing to help, I'd really appreciate it. She claps her hands together and quickly deposits her towel on the counter before returning and taking a seat across from me. I take my notebook off the top of the textbook and hand it over to her for her to peruse. So you're studying the Edo period? Yeah, I'm not really much good at this though. She takes the textbooks and reads a few pages from a random section near the middle for a bit, but the aura of enthusiasm she's been radiating previously is rapidly sapping away. I'm guessing this isn't the kind of history you were expecting. Unfortunately not. My main area is European history, especially in the classical era. Sorry. She looks a bit downcast, but as she carefully closes the book and lays it back down on the table, her face perks up again. Would you like another cup of coffee? Oh yeah, sure. I reach forward and get my book back as Yuko gets up, takes my mug, and slowly walks to the counter to make another brew. As usual, she's absolutely silent as she does this. Every ounce of her concentration is focused on not tripping over or dropping the plain white mug. I thought we were taking lunch with Hanako. Where is Hanako? Did we skip that bit? I take the opportunity to lay back and relax for a bit, the hum of the coffee machine filling the otherwise quiet air. It's small details like that which make me realize how much I've come to appreciate the little things in life. The peace and quiet of the local town, the discipline and order of Yamaku, the green of the trees that were so rare in my home city, the relaxed pace at which the aging residents live their lives. Everything feels so certain. It's comforting. I can feel myself beginning to nod off, when the sound of the mug coming to rest on the table grabs my attention. Seems like it arrived not a moment too soon. Yuko takes her previous seat once again, and I pick myself up and bring a hand around the mug to check its temperature. It's just a little too hot to drink right away, so I blow on it a little. It's a shame you don't like history all that much. I sort of guessed you might be more into science. How so? You've nearly read out the science fiction section of the library already. It wasn't hard to notice. You do have a good point there. Well, what can I say? You've pegged me just about right. I mean, I love science fiction. I can't do science. You sound like you really take an interest in history, though, especially considering how specific you were about it. Do you study in that area or something? Go on digs overseas? She giggles nervously at the thought. I like to visit the Mediterranean sometime and see the old architecture and art for myself, but I don't really think I could trust myself to handle such delicate things. I'm saving up to formally study in university, although I also read up on it whenever I have the free time outside of work. So Miki was right about her university aspirations. Considering how she fares as a waitress, a more theoretical path may suit Yuko better. It's nice to hear that she has some ambitions, though, considering how hard she works. I nod and take a careful sip of my coffee, but now it's cooled to the right temperature, so I begin to drink while keeping an eye on the book below, trying to read it at the same time. A few minutes pass quietly, Yuko looking out the window and watching the world go by while I have my coffee and study. A movement catches my eye, and I look up to see Yuko smiling and waving to someone outside. Following her gaze surprisingly reveals the someone to be Hanako. Oh, there she is. She is looking at us from the side of the street across from where we are. Her usually all-too-visible timidity is largely absent, probably thanks to there being so few people around right now. Evidently, she decides to join us after a little wave. She gives a quick glance up and down the street and crosses towards the side that the cafe is on. Hello. The familiar doorbell to the Shanghai rings out as Hanako enters and makes her way to the table we're sitting at. Hello. Good afternoon. Hi, Hanako. What's up? Nothing. Just going for a walk since the weather was nice. Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm glad I decided to study here instead of the library. It's comfortable in here thanks to that. Better than the sometimes quite stuffy library. I look to Yuko, who nods in response. It's nice. It's just a shame that the summer can't last forever. Oh wait, sorry, would you like a drink? Hanako shakes her head. Thankfully, it's enough to calm Yuko back down. How are you going to study? Okay-ish. Oh yeah, have you talked with Lilly? I'm interested too. How is she doing? She's enjoying it, I think. I mean, her aunt kinda died, which sorta sucks, I guess. I think that's all we're going to get out of her. Being around Yuko is tensing her up. It would be so nice to travel to Scotland. Green fields, castles, lovely small towns, men in kilts, interesting history. I can't say I see the appeal of men in kilts myself, but it does seem like a picturesque place, though. As we walk, the jingle of the doorbell rings again. Hanako is startled, noticing Yuko's panicked expression at the prospect that she might leave customers to wait a handful of seconds due to her chatter with us. And then she just goes. Yuko gives us a quick bow, then hastily skitters over and greets the new customers, an elderly man and his wife. I watch her for a bit, craning my head around to get a good view. Hanako is staring at me with her one visible eye. She averts her head in embarrassment as I turn to make eye contact. I was just thinking that it's nice to have ambitions for the future. Yuko was telling me a little bit about her university aspirations before. Oh, well, Isao, that's really interesting. It's a shame. If she wasn't so neurotic and overworked, I think she could really be a happy person. As much as I like to play host to Hanako and entertain her for a bit, I do need to study as well. To be honest, I don't think the distraction from Yuko helped either. Sorry if I'm a bit distracted, I need to try to get this done, otherwise I'm going to flunk the history exams pretty hard. I'm left running my hand through my hair in frustration. That letter needs doing as well once I get back to my dormitory room. I hope I have more luck with that than this, darn. What with? Oh, I was going to write you an article. Right now, though, this is more important. All I've done is rattle myself. I can't focus on work in front of me when my stomach is slowly turning at the prospect of actually attempting to write her back after all this time. I force myself to concentrate on the book, picking up my pen once I have a quick sip of coffee. After a few seconds, Hanako stops silently watching me and leans back in her seat, relaxing as much as she ever seems to be able to, looking out the window to pass the time. We stayed like this for a long time before leaving it for the dormitories together. I'm surprised she had the patience to wait me out. Oh, here we got the letter. Iwanuko's letter lies on my desk beside a blank sheet of lined paper and an unused envelope. The tapping of my pen is the only thing to be heard this late at night. As I feared, my second task for the day turns out to be just as difficult as the first, if not harder. It's been so many months since we even saw each other. Even so, it might have been 2 years. Who knows how long this Let's Play's been going on. Even so, I can still remember what she looked like, what she sounded like, what she acted like. By now, though, the little details are beginning to slip away. When I first saw her letter, I barely recognized her handwriting at all. Even the pink pen she always used was forgotten until her writing reminded me of it. I wonder why she didn't use it for the letter. She used to write everything with it. Maybe she thinks it's too immature now. I should be thinking about myself and about what I want to communicate to her. My mind can't stop concentrating on her, though, on the past we shared before it was taken away so suddenly. The bright and slightly garish decorations suit her sense of aesthetics. Picking up the letter to take a closer look at it, I give a long sigh. This is the last link binding me to my past. Iwanako didn't suddenly cease to exist when she left my hospital room for the last time, but I needed this letter to remind me of that. I had all those feelings neatly filed away. I felt as if I didn't need them, that I could just begin life completely anew. It was much easier that way. In the end, I suppose that was a rather naive thing to think. Sooner or later, my past would have caught up with me, one way or the other. What am I supposed to say to her? Thank you for bringing me closure? All the letter did was end the sense of closure I had previously felt. Try as I might, I can't write so much a single word down on the paper in front of me. I can't even think of what exactly I want to say. Putting the letter down on top of the blanket sheet, I gather the materials and file them away in the drawer. The clunk the desk makes as it closes makes me momentarily tense in frustration before I get up to grab a drink from the vending machine on the first floor. I tried, but I couldn't do it. After all the time that's passed, I still don't know how to deal with Iwanako. Oh, really? That was a thing. Alright, we'll end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a long one, but we're pushing to end this, okay? Subscribe if you like and have not yet. Check out the social media links in the description. And yeah, have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.